Welcome back, everybody, to this lesson. Now, in this lesson, I want to talk about organization quickly. Now, it's very important to know that in After Effects, when you're importing a lot of your assets here into the project area, it's going to get very crowded very quickly. Now, in order to counter this, you need to stay organized. And the way to do this is by creating folders. So remember, there is always three ways you can do one thing in Adobe software, and this goes in After Effects as well. One way to create a folder is by clicking on this icon here. It will create a folder for you. You can say File and then go under New Folder, like so. Or you will be able to say Control Alt Shift N, and it will create a folder for you. Whatever you like, you can use any of these options. You can left click and rename your folder. I like to name my folder by default footage. And if you keep this clicked, you can create one more folder here. And I like to call this images. And another one here that I like to call videos. And I like to keep this one in the top like this. And I create one more that I call vector, or actually I like to call it graphics. Most of the time I'm using graphics, which will include vector files and other type of files. So this way everything is nicely organized here. And I like to create another folder called audio, and within that folder I have one that's called the effects for all type of audio effects. I have one more for music, and if I have some VO, I will put the voiceover in here. So this way I have this structure here. One more important thing is to have one called compositions, and in there you can populate with all the compositions that you have. Trust me, this will get crowded very quickly. And a final one that I like to call exports. And if I'm exporting something, I like to go through the export file and keep it there. If I'm exporting things and knowing what I've exported, to be here in this folder. Now, this is a quick way of actually having folders within your project area and to keep everything nice and organized in this. Now, let's say, for example, within your workflow, if you have something like some color swatches or whatever it is, it's always smart to have another folder, call it swatches. And if you want this to appear on top, you can always put an exclamation mark and it will jump on top and stay on top here. If there is something that you are, for example, using to sample colors very often and you want to have quick access to it, that's the way I would do it. I would create a folder and keep everything in there. Now, further organization, you can create here and change the color. So for example, you can keep this red. The audio, you can change the color to lavender and so on. So this is something that I will cover in another lesson. But for now, this is important to remember. Stay organized, otherwise it's going to be very, very difficult for you to navigate your project down the line.